boys, I am Sean. This is In The Mix, episode 76. It's a new week. It's the second half of our first season in the Championship. A tremendous amount of stuff going on, and I'm loving Football Manager at the moment. Don't get me wrong, this season, this whole series, it's been a rollercoaster of emotions at times, and I've been riding it as much as humanly possible. But we have, through my tactical brilliance, my unrecognised genius, managed to turn our form around a little bit. Let's jump in and have a look at the results that we've played off screen. As you guys can see here, we have had a tremendous December. Of course, in that last episode, we lost 2-0 to Ipswich and Blackburn, both games that we really struggled in. You might be thinking, wow, Sean, you've really turned your form around. What did you do? I went back to the tactic that we played in League One. I regressed to playing a less progressive version of football, and the teams responded really well to it. And I think the key is that when you're playing with an advanced forward, you need to have someone that's dragging players away from them. So going to a 2 up top just seems to have unlocked a tremendous run of scoring out of Doran, and we're really making the most of him as a player. It does mean that Ramsey's kind of a little bit left in no man's land. We brought him into play specifically at the 10, but now we're trying to get him to work as a deep lying forward. It does mean Knowles might potentially play a little bit more as well because he's more comfortable in that role. But we will continue working through it, and it's basically this lineup that you can see here that's gotten us through the majority of the games where we've managed to turn our form around. We're up into 10th position, 24 games played, 10 wins, 4 draws, 10 defeats. Back to 0 goal difference, which is tremendous. I think we were at -10 at a certain point, and 34 points. This part up here, which I'm not going to speak about, we're just not going to mention. There's nothing to do with that. Don't worry about it. Forget it. It's a blind spot. I might block it out or blur it or do something. We're not worrying about it. Our results though, a good 2-1 win against Middlesbrough. It was a 92nd minute winner from Rafinha. He jumped off the bench to get us the winner there, and he kind of came into the team after that because Rowley's been struggling for the last few weeks. We then lost 1-0 to Wigan, and to be fair to them, they were a much better side. They had a good few key opportunities that really they should have finished. Aidan Bingo had an excellent game for them. He looks to be a quality player in the centre of the park that's coming through their squad. We then beat Barnsley 2-1 in what was pretty much the battle for the Sheriff. He wasn't able to play because Barnsley is his parent club. Jack Donkin came in and played in goal. I have been arguing with their manager, whose name I've forgotten all season, about our use of the Sheriff. So it was good to get a good performance and a 2-1 win to put us on our way. We then beat Charlton 1-0 in a game where we should have scored 4 or 5. Thankfully, Henry Doran getting amongst it again to get us the winner in that match. And then last time out against Crystal Palace, who at the time were sitting in the playoff positions, we beat them 4-0 via the way of a Henry Doran, I don't know, what do you call it? A quartet of goals? A hat trick? Some sort of different apparel? A shoe trick or something like that? We'll figure it out as we go. We might just call it a Doran here from here on out. But he was absolutely magnificent in this game. The team performed incredibly well, and it puts us in a great run of form heading into the games that we're going to play today against Sheffield Wednesday, who, of course, were one of the better sides that we played early on in the season. They beat us 3-0, and they were very, very good in this game. And then we've got an FA Cup third round tie. We didn't draw a high division side in the Premier League, but we have drawn Ipswich, who also beat us 2-0 in the last episode. So 2 massive revenge episodes. And definitely like an immediate response for how our new tactical change has gone. It's as simple as just making it a 4-4-2. That's really all we did. We went back to what was working well for us, what won us the division last season, and the team has just pretty much slotted straight back into it. We do have, it won't be in this episode, but it will be probably a day or two after the Ipswich game, a couple of players that are going to be joining us. I'll introduce those guys in the next episode once we get through January. And it is worth noting, I'm just going to show you guys now, we have a whole bunch of the most talented young players from around Europe that are joining as they sign their first professional deals. So if we sort them here, you'll see we've got De Vargas who's going to join in January. We've got Madrigal who joins in the off-season. We've got a couple of players from around the place that are going to join. Grusinger joins in January as well. He's going to be great for us. We've got a goalkeeper joining us as well. Some of these guys that we've picked up, actually, let me look at them in the scouting player or the shortlist page. That'll be a lot cleaner to look at. Some of these players we have picked up, there is a little bit of a risk to. There's potential that they're not quite going to hit the potential that they've got at the moment, but we've made them sign pre-contract agreements for transfers at the ages of 16 and 17 with a view that they'll join us 12 months from now and hopefully start to make the most of their ability. This guy, Mohamed Hosseini, who we will give a face pack to eventually once he actually arrives at the club, he was like a 2.5-star player when he signed his contract, and look at the way that he's progressed staying at his parent club at the moment. By the time he joins us at 18, he's going to be an absolutely fantastic player. Similarly, a couple of 16-year-olds here that are already 3-star current ability, they're going to be fantastic for us. It does mean that we have kind of drawn down our transfer budget quite a bit, but I'm hopeful that we will get an additional transfer budget, and once we have that little bit extra cash, we can try and bring in some more finished goods players. Worst case scenario, these guys come in, they go into the under-23 squad, they go out on loan for 12 months and try and develop a little bit further that way. but we are slowly cultivating some of the best young talent around Europe and bringing them in to play first team football for us. Keeping in mind as well, we do have to start looking forward that as we go into the new year, we're not going to have Henry Doran next year, we're not going to have Robert Ramsey, we're not going to have Scott Welsh, we're not going to have Toby Sheriff. So we do need to be looking to the next window, looking to the next transfers, all that sort of stuff. Coming into January as well, there's a few different Premier League sides that are after my players. Franz Wolf has had a bunch of different players come in for him. Sean Wademan, there are people that are clear trying to bring him in, and a couple other players around the squad that have had interest from the higher division. So we're going to try and keep the squad together. Worst case scenario, if someone does go out, we can try and bring loan signings back in. We do have another one long-term loan or 6-month loan. I think we're allowed to bring in remaining for the season. And on top of that, we know we've got the 3 additional players that are joining on the 1st of January. So a tremendous amount going on, but really all I want is for our good run of form to continue, and that has to continue today with a good result against Sheffield Wednesday. So as you guys can see here, it is back in that 4-4-2 shape. Sheriff, of course, in goal. Taylor and Welsh as a central defensive partnership. Preston Kelly and Wright as the fullbacks. I think our defensive line is our big area for improvement this next off-season, which is probably showing through in some of those players that I showed you earlier. Rowley and Dean on the wings. Dean's done quite well. Daub has really been struggling for the last few weeks. Rafinha would likely be starting on the left wing because he's more comfortable in the shape and the structure, but he's got a bit of a knock at the moment. He's going to be out for a couple more weeks. Wademan and Wolf, of course, as the central midfield pairing, and Ramsey and Doran up top. They're playing like a very narrow-looking 4-3-1-2. Cassidy up the top here is their leading scorer for the season, ex-Watford Junior, worth £9 million, looks fairly solid, 16 dribbling, 15 heading, 15 technique, 15 decision-making, 16 off the ball, so like a proper in-behind striker moving at a rapid clip. He's going to play alongside Richardson, who looks like a regen player that came through the Chelsea Academy. He looks fairly solid. I can't remember who it was that tore us apart last time. It might have been Riley, their captain here, but there was one of the midfielders that was magnificent the entire game. 16 passing, 16 technique, 18 bravery, 16 determination, 17 acceleration. He looks to be quite the player. 10.25 million value and wearing the captain's armband. Was it this Peak guy? I can't quite remember some of the names, but Andy Peak, they picked him up at some point through the Manchester United Youth Academy. Regen player, now 25 years of age. So it must have been a very early regen. £15 million value for him. So they've got some very good players. We know that they're quality because they have torn us apart before, but they're coming for the first time out to the Isle. So we'll see if we can turn it around. I'm going to passionately say, no, you lot have been keen to avenge what happened last time. We did concede 3 goals. We were very poor. I don't think we registered a shot on target for about an hour of the game. But we are a different prospect at the moment since making this tactical tweak. Ball in, good header away by Welsh. It's going to get tidied up by Leonard here. It's always a bit nerve-wracking when a highlight starts from kick-off. Stacey, the overlapping fullback, they're getting forward early. Burns sends it back. Ooh, we did have Doran in the area. Oh, and he's gotten goal side now. Quick turn away there, let the ball run. Can he find the finish to start us off perfectly? It's a good save from the keeper, but a lovely turn and run there. The clearance had a bit of venom on it, and he just let the ball carry him past the defender. Dean tries to cross it in. Our corner routines just aren't working at the moment. I think I'm going to have to mix them up. Right, throw in here to Dean. Ball into the channel for Ramsey to chase down. He's going to put the pressure on Pinnock. Back to Varela in goal for Sheffield Wednesday. He does quite well to get out under pressure, actually. And then there's not a tremendous amount of urgency here. Rowley's won the ball back in a good spot and found Ramsey inside the box. Can he find the finish? That's where he struggles. He's very much a creative player, not necessarily the finisher that we need him to be playing up front now. He's going to take this corner, though. Whips it in towards back post. Taylor was there, met it with a good header, but keeper does very well. A couple of good saves already from Varela, and in the first 10 minutes, we've had 3 shots and 3 on target, as well as 3 key opportunities, which is fantastic to see. Throw in here, high on the left-hand side, taken by Preston Kelly. Works its way to Wademan, who goes back stick towards Dean, who gets the strike away, and then Pinnock manages to scramble it clear for the corner. It's just seemingly the balance of this 4-4-2 just seems to suit our playing group so tremendously well. It's not what I wanted to do for the season, but we're getting good results with it, so I can't really get away from it at the moment. Richardson, under pressure, puts it out for a corner again. So that high press, we're getting straight back on them as soon as we lose possession. And I think what's really helping us is having those partnerships around the field. That top 2 up front, just having an additional guy up there to try and drag players away from Henry Doran is very much helping us. Deep free kick here. Clara goes forward into midfield. Press is a little bit slow, getting to Burns. Played across to Dean, but we've won it back. Doran now, edge of the area, gets past one, but it's a wide angle shot, and he's managed to work it back in for his 18th goal of the season. There is potential that Henry Doran is going to hit 20 goals in the championship before we get out of Christmas if he continues scoring at the current clip that he's on. It's wonderful work there from Dean. Good ball forward by Doran. Maybe he could have played the 1-2 there, but instead he backs himself, goes pacey around the goalkeeper, around the defender, and smashes it back past the goalkeeper. Varela got a big chunk of it, which potentially helped it go back into the net, but I'm going to take it as a win. Throw in, Preston Kelly, Doran, with the turn on halfway. He does lose out in possession, but Wademan recovers. Wademan works it out to the right-hand side with Dean. We've got an overlapping fullback here if we work this correctly. He loses out now. Lennon with a good tackle to recover possession. Ball back inside to midfield. White to Burns. Looks for the ball over the top. Cassidy actually wins the header and gets the reverse pass from Richardson. Defence collapses around him a little bit, and so he works it out to the right to Stacey, the overlapping fullback. Cut back to Riley, and that's a good finish and a good goal. First highlight we've seen from Sheffield Wednesday, and they definitely did quite well. They knew their shape, they knew their structure. Worked us from side to side on that counter-attack. Started with the left back. The cross came in from the right forward. And that's good play. And it's a good little ball in. Maybe we could have done a little bit better, but it's a good first-time finish from Riley. Left foot, lets it come across his body. Puts it behind the defender so the goalkeeper wouldn't have much view of it. And with 10 minutes remaining in the half, we're going to use our demand more shouts. First shot on target we've seen in the first highlight we've seen for them. But good teams have that quality to punish you even with one opportunity. 2 minutes added on at the end of the first half here. We're through that now. 9 shots, 7 on target, 60% possession for us. They've had 4 shots, 2 on target, 40% of the ball. I'm going to passionately say I'm pleased with how things are going. I don't want to get down on anybody. It's not the worst thing in the world to draw 1-1 with a side that I think is one of the better teams in the division, even if the table isn't reflecting that at the moment. We're getting through the hour mark, so we might as well have a look at our subs now. Ramsey's struggling a little bit. We're going to bring on Daniel Knowles, who's a little bit more comfortable as a deep lying forward. Preston Kelly, he has one good game and then one terrible game consistently all the time. It drives me mental. Sam Morris will come in at left back. I think we might give Ricky Dean a bit of a spell and bring on Dorber, who's working his way back from injury. I'm going to passionately say I have faith in you, make a difference. Perhaps a little risky to make 3 subs with 30 minutes remaining, but I do want to go after it a little bit, try and get the victory while we're at home, and get our win back after losing to them last time we played. Throw in here for them. On the right-hand side, taken by Stacey. McCarnley just walks past a player and then finds Richardson, and they've gone a goal up here. Is that against the run in play? It's a good finish. Tom Richardson did quite well. Markande, the ex-Tottenham junior, with a good little assist, but just it's poor play here. This turn in midfield is way too easy. Who was that he's walked past there? Morris, who's come off the bench and pretty much just handed them the most straightforward of assists. Not doing any favours to the team. We're going to demand more for the last 10 minutes. Wademan with a deep free kick towards back post. It's fallen to Dorber. Now Welsh out to Wademan. Go at him. Get around him, please. He tries the cross early. It wasn't quite on. Richardson, the goal scorer from earlier, has now picked it up and is driving towards his own half. We managed to stand him up, but he gets the cross in towards the middle where they've got a 3v2. Back to Webb. Recovery's good. Markande, who got the first assist, or the second assist, sorry, is giving Morris a bath at the moment, just walking past him, finds Webb at the top of the box, and he gets the strike away. Thankfully, at the second time I'm asking, he ballooned it a little bit just over the crossbar. Everyone seems focused after the demand more shout, but we haven't seen any further highlights. There's going to be 4 minutes of additional time here. Is there any late drama? I haven't gone attacking. Maybe I could have, but maybe hindsight being 2020, we should have made that change. In the end, we had 12 shots, 7 on target, 63% possession. 7 shots, 3 on target, 37% for Sheffield Wednesday. They might be our bogey team. I'm going to say disappointed with your performance. We needed to win there and we didn't get it. But I think that's just one of those things. Sometimes you're on a good run of form and then you start recording and I don't know if Streamlabs throws out the Sports Interactive match engine, but we've still had a good December. It's definitely a vast improvement on what we did in November and October. So form is still in the right side of us. We've still won 3 of our last 5. And potentially going into the game against Ipswich, we're in relatively decent form. We are playing at home as well, so I'm going to stick with our positive tactic. And I think I'm also going to just go faith with this team. They've been playing quite well for the time being. We want to try and continue that as long as we possibly can. All right, so not where we thought we were going to come back, but best laid plans, sometimes they go out the window. Our game against Ipswich has actually been delayed, which means you guys are going to meet the new signings because it'll be played on the 2nd of January. We're going to jump forward now. I'll show you guys De Vargas, Gressinger, and our new goalkeeper when they arrive. All right, and here we go. 2 new signings. Hernandez De Vargas joining us from, well, I actually don't know who this club is, LUV in Brazil in the state championship. So he's one of the lower division players, but he's been playing for them quite regularly. 11 goals and 28 appearances this season in his debut year, and he looks to be absolute quality. I'm thrilled to be getting him and putting him alongside, likely, Doran up top as our deep lying forward. It's a role that we've been trying to fulfill for a couple of seasons. I think he's the player that's actually going to do it for us, and there's a good chance that he'll come straight into the starting lineup for the next one. The other one we've signed is Jason Gressinger, a US youth international who's been playing in Costa Rica, interestingly enough, but playing first team football at 16 and 17 years of age. I think there is a little bit more development we need out of him, but what I could see him potentially doing is jumping in and playing as a central defender on defend in place of Tyrone Taylor, just to try and give us some stability. I probably won't do that for the first game. We might give him some additional time. And what his arrival means is that we may potentially try and move on Matt McCluskey in this transfer window. He's been dying to leave for quite a while, and I've just been kind of like holding on and holding on and holding on. But potentially with that additional defender coming in, I think it's a good opportunity for us to try and clear out a little bit of the squad. It's worth noting as well, because it'll come up later as well, there's quite a few different players here whose contracts are up at the end of this season, not even including the loan players. So a lot of these guys are effectively playing for their contracts in the second half of the season, and there's a fair few guys that are now, 20, 21, that I would expect to move on. We still have a good core that's going to be hanging around for additional seasons. That's not a massive concern for us. We've got a whole bunch of players that we know are coming in at the end of the season as well. Good youngsters coming through that we want to give opportunities to. There's quite a few guys here that I think potentially in the next 6 months of this season are playing for their careers with the club. While we're here, Henry Doran won the Player of the Month, or Young Player of the Month, for the month of whatever month it must have been, December. So we'll give him some praise. Franz Wolf came third. Aiden Bingol, who tore us apart when we played Wigan, gets the other additional award there. So we are just going to set up De Vargas and Greisinger in their roles. Oh, he can play as an attacking deep lying forward. So maybe we'll try and adjust a couple of different players to work that role. Does of course mean we have 5 strikers on the books at the moment, if you include Ramsey and Busby as players that we want to try and develop. And we're also going to get Greisinger working on his preferred role, which will be that that centre back on defend. We might as well give them both debuts as well while we're here, while we've got the episode. It's either going to work out fantastically well for us, or it's going to be an absolute disaster. If you remember back to Nemanja Vidic's debut for Manchester United, it was not an impressive performance by any stretch, but we're going to give these guys an opportunity, see how they go. We've waited a long time for them to actually join the side. It will be great to see what they can actually bring to the team as well. We're going to go attacking, and what I'm going to do is just set these guys to be winger backs on defend. So everyone's in their preferred roles within the shape, within the structure. I'm also going to give Wademan a bit of a rest and put Granger in as well, because it is a cup tie. But otherwise, very strong lineup. We are going attacking from the off. I'm hopeful we can put together a good performance and get through to the next round. If we do get through, the draw's already been done for round 4. We'd play Premier League Burnley, which is a massive, massive contest for us. All right, so just running through the lineup, Sheriff, of course, in goal. Greisinger will come in for his debut alongside Welsh at the back. Preston Kelly takes the captain's arm man with Taylor out of the side at left back. Wright will play at right full back. Dean and Reilly on the wings. Granger and Wolf in the middle. De Vargas making his debut at the 10 alongside Doran. We've got the double Ds up top, and hopefully they can be as massive as we all hope. They're playing a 4-2-3-1, which looks relatively straightforward. We know they played Jack Clark, and he was very good the last time we played them. They've got a couple of good players here. Aspinall being their leading scorer was very good in that game as well. 15 flair, 16 pace, 17 acceleration. Came through at the Chelsea Youth Academy. So definitely some quality they've got. I'm going to passionately say, Noel, a lot of you have been keen to avenge what happened last time. And I'm also just going to tell the 2 debutants, De Vargas has already settled quite comfortably, so I'm going to leave him, but I'm going to tell Greisinger that I've got faith in him to perform well. Only 2-star current ability, but there's no reason he can't perform above himself with that 5-star potential. And we are attacking from the off here, playing at home. De Vargas getting involved early with the press. Played back to Zulu, all the way back to Muir in goal. He goes long. Welsh with a good header, plays to the Wolf, and finds Granger. Can he find the reverse pass to Doran? Can he find the finish? Oh, he maybe could have gone for the other corner. If he had had a bit more composure, got it on his right foot, just slid it past the goalkeeper, we'd be a goal up inside 10 minutes. Throw in here on halfway for Ipswich. Back to Mosquera, the left back. I cannot pronounce that then. Let's just call him Prishkavili. Good flick on header. A wonderful run here from the Wolf, and he's bursting into the box. He's got not much of an angle to work at, but he doesn't even care. Just absolutely rifles that one past the fullback. Past the oncoming goalkeeper. He'd already walked past the fullback back on halfway. De Vargas goes up, loses out, and Wolf picks this up inside his own half and then just tears away. This is not what I would expect a deep line playmaker to actually run. I would expect a deep line playmaker to make throughout the course of a game. But his 6th goal of the season is a tremendous effort, and then he threw the cartwheel in as the celebration as well. Throw in here, right-hand side, into the Wolf. Played across now to right. Deep cross, but towards Muir. He comes out and claims well. No one challenges from our end. Is that the end of the highlight, or are we going to see additional ball forwards here? It's Prishkavili. He skips past right. Poor effort from the defender, and thankfully the drive looking for the far post just past the far corner. Throw in here, right-hand side, right to take. Plays it into the Wolf. Ball across towards Granger in midfield. We can work a nice triangle here. Instead we go forward to Vargas, who looks for Dean on the overlap. Got time to pick a ball out here towards Doran. It's headed away. That's not really Doran's game. Welsh loses out to Aspinall, who's got a lot of work to do from the left-hand side here. Greisinger with an excellent tackle. Sends it up the line, but De Vargas isn't switched onto it. Ball back in here now through midfield with Gisk. Prishkavili getting in behind, and thankfully that drive again. He's just hooked it a little bit on that left-hand side and well and truly wide. But still danger signs being shown. Andrew Clarkson with it's a good strike. I don't know why I called him Andrew Clarkson. Is that a player or a person that I know? Leighton Clarkson with an excellent free kick. Maybe Sheriff could have done a little bit better. It wasn't quite towards the corner, but it was bending quite a bit. Good angle for a right-footed player. Yeah, and by the time it actually crosses the line, it's not really anywhere near the corner. It's kind of towards the middle of the goal, really. If he had stayed on his feet, maybe he could have actually just caught that one. But that's the danger. We learnt it in the last game. Good sides in this division will hurt you with singular opportunities, and Ipswich have taken their one for the half. We can use our demand more shout. Everyone responded pretty positively with it. Granger steps inside, looks towards Dean on the far side. It's not a bad little effort from the header, but the keeper watched it past the post. Deep free kick here from right. Plays it to the Wolf, who's been involved heavily in all of our highlights. Back to Welsh. All the way back through Sheriff. Now switch it out to the left-hand side. If it comes back to you, don't go back in the same way. Go to the left-hand side. Griesinger now. Greisinger. I might go with Greisinger. I think it sounds nicer. Doran from the wide area. Not a bad effort. Gets it on goal, but Muir equal to it and holds. All right, we get through to half-time. 8 shots, 3 on target, 59% possession. They've had 4, 2, and 41. I think the big thing we want to avoid is a replay. So we're going to passionately say, I'm pleased with how things are going. Everyone's responded positively, which is great to see. Doran struggling a little bit. Maybe kind of getting in the same way or getting in similar spaces as DeVargas. Their relationship may take a couple of weeks to actually start to develop, but they both have the quality. We just need to try and get them the ball. All right, we're through an hour now, and in the spirit of trying to keep everybody fit and ready to go, I'm going to take off DeVargas. I'm not going to try and ask too much of him in the early part of this game. Griesinger also has a yellow card, so I'm going to take him off for Tyrone Taylor, who'll come back in. 2 decent debuts, 2 solid debuts. If we go on to win the match, it'll be remembered more fondly, but we're also going to use our Get Creative shout with 30 minutes remaining. We're going to stay on attacking. We're going to go after it a little bit here. I'd rather get knocked out than go to a replay, though. That's the main concern. 10 minutes remaining. We're going to use our demand more shout. We've got a highlight here. Preston Kelly with the throw-in, finds Rowley. Preston Kelly looks for a ball over the top. It was poor effort, to be honest. And Clarkson, the goal scorer from earlier, picks it up in midfield. Mascara looks to play the ball forward. Right should get there first. Plays inside to Welsh. He can play it forward to Dean. And he's now got Right on the overlap, who Wolf finds expertly with the reverse pass. Can he find the cutback? Back stick to Rowley. Wonderful, wonderful goal. What about that reverse pass from the Wolf there? That was absolutely tremendous. I thought he was just going to dink it over the top out on that side. Instead, he plays it in behind the fullback, takes them out of it completely. It's just this little pass here. What a wonderful ball that is. Perfectly weighted on his left foot. And Wright does tremendously well. Just hang this one back stick. And Rowley, all he had to do was get it back on target. Keeper was scrambling. And we take a 2-1 lead. Now, should we drop back to our positive structure for the last 10 minutes? I'm going to give it a whirl. Let's see if by dropping our line just a little bit, still doing the intense press, but dropping the line just a little bit, we might be able to hold on to our lead here. 4 minutes to be added on. Injury time. They've got a corner. Clarkson to take. Taylor with the header away. Wolf is in the area. Dean plays forward to Ramsey. We've got a 2v1 here if we work this correctly. Doran finds Ramsey on the overlap. Here's goal side. He doesn't have the pace to get away from the defence, though. It's not a bad effort. He's clipped the inside of the post, and then Muir has time to get back to his feet. I think that's what hurts Ramsey a little bit. He's a very good playmaker and a very good number 10, but if we're not going to use that role, he might not necessarily have the pace to play up front. A good 2-1 win. I'm going to take it. We know how good Ipswich were. They demolished us last time we played in the league. Passionately, well done, lads. Good win for us, and we get the win back. Still haven't had that 6-point episode that I'm so desperate to get at the moment, but we are taking good steps, good positive steps towards staying in the division. Franz Wolf gets the Man of the Match award for his wonderful goal in the first half. And it does mean we go and play a game against Burnley. We will have Premier Division opposition, albeit Premier Division opposition that's currently in the relegation zone. There's potential that we will come up against them next year if we stay in the division and they come down. We're going to tell the Wolf that he was magnificent. And a good few offers coming in from McCluskey. We're going to try and move him on, I think, now that Gressinger has finally joined. And at 21 years of age, I don't think he's going to make the most of his potential. So potentially when we come back next episode, which I think we'll do towards the end of January, do the game here against Bristol City, who are currently in second position, and the game against Swansea, who are in 19th. We may potentially have a blockbuster Burnley tie to review. We may potentially have a couple of decent fixtures lined up for the league itself as well, if we continue in our current run of form. Maybe McCluskey will be here, maybe he will have moved on. We'll do a full recap at the end of the January transfer window of everyone we've brought in. And if there are any disasters, any injuries, anything like that, the loan market is still there for an additional player. The transfer market is still there to try and bring some guys in at end of contracts. And we'll do what we always do. We'll go through each of these squads and look at any youth prospects that are getting released from their contracts. At high division sides, we're not just going to do that for England this time. Now that we're at a championship level, we want to expand it to be a bit more broad. We're probably going to go through and do the same thing in Spain, Italy, all those nations. So we're going to have probably 1 million scout reports come through between now and the end of the season. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That's the portion I appreciate the most. If you want to go that extra mile, be that super supporter, continue to support the content, feel free to drop a like on the video to please that YouTube algorithm, or alternatively, you can subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date on all our future videos. Let me know if you're enjoying FM20, let me know what saves you've got going on. I do respond to every single comment that I get in the comment section below. But more than anything, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, and I'll see you guys again in the mixer.